Oh my god, I have to talk about this movie. It's been days and I can't stop thinking about it. I've been lying awake at night, replaying scenes, lines, glances, everything, and wondering why I ever thought I could handle something like this without completely falling apart. And I've read the manga, so I knew it was gonna happen. It's haunting me in the best and worst ways. I keep asking myself what it did to me, why I can't move on, and every time I think I'm done thinking about it, another image, another line, another feeling just hits me again. And the best part is, it was made by a movie buff. Somebody who openly adores cinema and tried his whole life to get his stories on the big screen. That somebody is Tatsuki Fujimoto, and that movie is Chainsaw Man Reze Arc. Let's dive in. I went to see the new Chainsaw Man movie expecting chaos. I love the manga, I love the energy, the absurdity, and especially the rawness. Thought I was ready, and I wasn't. Fujimoto didn't just make a movie, he performed open heart surgery on the audience. He took something violent and unhinged and turned it into a love story so devastatingly human that I'm still trying to recover. Fujimoto's obsession with cinema bleeds through every single shot. You can tell this is a director who lives and breathes film. He understands rhythm, framing, silence, tension, all the ways a movie can manipulate emotion without even saying a word. Every frame feels alive and every cut is deliberate. Even when blood is splattering across the walls, there's a strange poetry in how it's presented, how there's beauty in the chaos. He doesn't just show you violence, he makes you feel it. And I didn't even watch it in 4D. It's like it's somehow connected to the character's emotional state. And beneath it all is love. It's always love. It's what drives everything here. Fujimoto loves cinema. He loves creating stories that can tear us apart, which is why it's so fitting that this is a love story. Every scream, every quiet glance, every ridiculous over-the-top action beat, it's all circling back to the ache of wanting something or someone you can't have. See, there's Denji, 16 years old, barely human, half devil, and somehow still more human than anyone else in the story. Oh, and he's got a chainsaw coming out of his face. His world is literally pure chaos, but his emotions are pure. Somehow Denji's still a good person after everything he's been through. There's something so painfully honest about how Fujimoto handles him. Denji's not heroic or confident, he's not even fully self-aware. He's just a kid trying to figure out how to live, how to connect, how to understand love when all he's ever known is survival. He does kind of latch on to anything that shows him affection. His traumatic childhood has made him a bit of an animal, where his number one goal in life is to do the things that primal humans wanted to do. Eat food and touch boobs. And I think that's what makes this movie hit so hard. You think you're watching a gore fest, and then suddenly you're watching yourself at 16. Confused and desperate and convinced that love is the one thing that can save you, but only if you could just understand it. Of course, Fujimoto doesn't spell any of this out. He doesn't need to. There's no exposition, no emotional hand-holding. He just lets Denji stumble through his feelings, and somehow you start feeling them too. It's raw and uncomfortable and beautiful at once, much like being 16. And then there's Reze. The way she appears in Denji's life feels almost cinematic in itself, like the kind of moment you see in old romance films. A girl who smiles like summer, who laughs like you've never known before, and who makes you forget for a split second that your world is full of monsters and blood. And Denji is desperately looking for a way to escape all of that. So while most 16-year-olds are looking for a girlfriend to escape their loneliness, Fujimoto takes that to a whole nother level by making Denji believe that he deserves to be happy. The chemistry between them doesn't feel scripted. It feels accidental, natural, and real. And the best part is, it isn't. She was setting him up. When Denji starts to fall for her, it's not dramatic. It's clumsy, tender, and painfully honest. You can see every thought flickering across his face, every hesitation, every silent wish that this might finally be what love feels like. He's never felt it before, so he's out of his depth and his mind is a mess. Fujimoto captures that awkward teenage hope perfectly. The hope that someone might finally see you. I mean, really see you. And not the mess of mistakes and scars underneath. Denji has his fair share of those, and that's what makes him fall so hard for Makima and especially Reze. I love how slow-paced the first half of the film is. The film builds slowly with this calm, almost dreamlike rhythm before everything goes to hell. We see Denji go on a date with Makima. We get to see Power, Anarchy, and Angel enjoying a semi-peaceful life. And I'm so glad it didn't rush into the action. It took its time to set up the story, make us attached to the characters, because it's shocking how many anime just don't do that these days. And the best part is, you do finally get your payoff. Once the action starts, it just keeps going until the credits roll. It's really well paced, and the story is really well laid out. Tatsuki Fujimoto, being a massive movie buff, definitely shines through here. In all of his early works, and even in Chainsaw Man, there are so many movie references, because he obviously loves it so much and wants to honour them. Because of this, because he structures Chainsaw Man like a movie movie and not like any other manga series, it means that this movie fit perfectly into the movie format. In the beginning, you get these moments where Denji is just being human, like us, buying food, cracking bad jokes, and going to see movies. Being in the cinema, watching a movie where the main character is also in the cinema watching a movie, I think was a not so subtle way for us to relate to him, to remind us that he's the same interests that we do. We just want to go to the cinema and watch a really cool movie to escape our lives that can be kinda shitty. The pacing feels like a memory, like watching something from your own life that you didn't realise mattered until later, and then, just when you've settled into that quiet life, Fujimoto tears it away. And that pool scene, my god, that pool scene. It's one of the ones I can't stop thinking about, not just because it has a naked girl. It's soft and awkward and full of longing, the kind of moment that feels too delicate for words. It perfectly illustrates the leap of faith that teenage love is. Back when just spending time with a girl was so exciting, it felt like an adventure and something you'd like never done before. I don't know if that was just me. The lighting, the sound, and especially the stillness, it's cinematic perfection. Dare I say, absolute cinema. It's definitely the heartbeat of the movie. Denji and Reze floating in water, laughing, trying to figure out what love is before the world swallows them again and spits them back out. It's innocent and terrifying at the same time because you know it can't last. You can feel it slipping away even as it happens. And the soundtrack elevates this to a whole new level. The piano song called In the Pool has been stuck in my head playing over and over again on repeat for ages, and I can't help but tear up when I hear it on social media. And especially with the context that Reze is the bomb devil. Water is her #1 weakness, and she put herself in that environment to help Denji feel like he was a normal kid just taking a swimming lesson. It's really poetic and it foreshadows how she's falling for him as well. And the symbolism here is just so cool. It keeps cutting to a butterfly stuck in a spider's web, and you see the spider approaching the butterfly, which is obviously meant to be how we see Denji and Reze. Reze's got Denji in her web, he's stuck and he's completely fallen for her. But as the scene plays on, it cuts back to the spider and it stopped moving. See, the butterfly was poisonous, it destroys everything that tries to eat it. And so in trying to lure in the butterfly, the spider causes its own demise. And when you have these two insects lying motionless in the web, it does kind of foreshadow the state of the characters at the end of the movie. Reze, who died thinking Denji set her up, and Denji, heartbroken and traumatized, who thought that Reze escaped without him and is never coming back. That's the thing about Fujimoto. He knows exactly when to let a moment breathe and when to destroy it. He makes you fall in love with the stillness just so he can break it. And then, of course, the chaos returns. The Chainsaw Man action we all know and love. The blood, the devils, the screaming, and the chainsaws. But this time it all feels heavier, more personal, because now you care. You care so much it hurts. Every swing of the saw, every drop of blood feels like a metaphor for what Denji's losing, what he can't hold on to. Fujimoto's world is chaotic and absurd. Sharks that walk, girls that explode, and a man with a chainsaw coming out of his face, and yet it feels grounded because the emotions are still there. Somehow he uses the absurdity to make us more attached to the regular humans. The ones that aren't absurd, the powerless ones, who are just trying to find their way in the world. Even though Denji's the Chainsaw Man, he's immortal, he literally can't die, and he can kill basically any devil that comes his way, Fujimoto loves to remind us that he's powerless. What good is physical strength if emotionally he's broken? Also, I need to mention the humour. This was one of the funniest movies I saw this year. From little gags like Denji's ridiculous facial expressions, to Denji picturing Angel in lingerie, to Beam just being the loyal goat that Denji always needed, and the humour felt like an oasis in a desert. It made for a really nice escape when I wasn't crying. See, the humour isn't just comic relief, it's survival. Denji and his friends laugh the way real people do even when everything's falling apart. Their jokes cut through the darkness and make the pain sharper when it returns. Fujimoto understands that laughter and heartbreak aren't opposites, they're the same emotion wearing different masks. They're two sides of the same coin, and Fujimoto constantly flips it. By the second half, everything is spiraling out of control. The fights are bigger, louder, the animation is smoother than it ever was before, but Fujimoto never loses sight of the heart. Everyone's after Chainsaw Man's heart, while Denji just wants to share his human heart with someone, and so the romance doesn't vanish in the chaos. It's there, clinging to every moment. I think on like a primal level, there's something so scary about seeing lovers fight. On one scene the chemistry is there and they're blushing and laughing like crazy, and now she's beating him to a pulp with excellent animation and music. You can feel Denji's love pulsing underneath the violence, fragile and desperate. He really doesn't want to attack Reze, but he needs to for his survival. Everyone around him, including Makima and all of public safety, are telling him, ordering to attack her, because he is one of the only ones that can subdue her and save all of these innocent lives that are at risk. But he really doesn't want to. It's as if the entire world is falling apart just to test how much a single person's heart can take. Now, Reze doesn't need a monologue or a tragic backstory. I think we get to hear like 1 total minute of exposition as to her backstory, and that's all we need. I have seen this movie twice in 2 days, and so there are a lot of little things I noticed the second time around that foreshadowed her backstory. Obviously she was singing in Russian, but also a few times she mentions how absurd Japan's culture is, like for instance having to ask permission to fire a gun. Now she wouldn't have a problem with that if she was from Japan, would she? Also, Nomo from Public Safety recognises her, but he can't quite put his finger on it. Sadly, when he knows where he recognises her from, it's already too late for him. And Beam clearly knows more than he lets on. He calls Denji Chainsaw-sama as an act of respect, but we've never really seen Beam before. What's more, Beam has been discussing this with Makima, somebody who knows more about the inner workings of devils than anyone else. There's also the question of how did he know she was the bomb devil? As soon as Beam rescued Denji from Reze, he smells her and immediately knows that she's the bomb devil. But how? Has he met her before? These questions really added to the chaos to make us, and especially Denji, feel powerless. Not just emotionally, not just mentally, but because we are shrouded by so much mystery and confusion we can't get a foothold. Even without the exposition that we got about Reze, you understand her in a glance, in the way she says Denji's name, in the hesitation before she smiles. Fujimoto lets silence do the talking, and that silence is devastating. It's the sound of everything they could have been if only the world were kinder. Oh yeah, also when they meet in the telephone booth, and she says that Denji looks like her dog that died recently, I'm pretty sure she was talking about Pochita, which I thought was really cool, and another symbol that she's not all that she seems. Then there's the soundtrack. Kensuke Ushio's score doesn't just complement the film, it complements it, the art. The music breathes with the story. In the quiet moments, it's delicate and aching. In the action scenes, it's frantic and alive, like a heartbeat racing out of control. It makes the movie feel like it's a living organism, like it's reacting to your emotions as you watch it. And I've been playing the soundtrack throughout this entire video, so even if you haven't seen the movie, you can see for yourself how incredible it is. And when the movie ends, the silence that follows is unbearable. The cinema is quiet, people filter out, and that final song, Jane Doe, is stuck in my mind. You're left with echoes, the hum of chainsaws, the splash of water, the memory of the laughter in the pool. It lingers like the aftermath of a dream you don't want to wake from. That is Fujimoto's genius. He makes you laugh, then cry, then sit in silence wondering what the hell just happened. He takes something absolutely grotesque and turns it into something heartbreakingly sincere. He makes horror feel like love and love feel like horror. He twists the story this way and that and gives it so many layers that he can blend and change the emotions however he wants. And you are completely in awe of this guy's mastery of his art. You walk out of the theatre feeling like you've lived somebody else's life. Denji's confusion becomes your own. Reze's fleeting smile becomes something you miss like a real memory. The movie doesn't end when the credits roll, it stays with you. Believe me, it stayed with me. It follows you into your day, into your thoughts, and into your dreams. And into your YouTube recommended. That's why this isn't just another anime film. It's a love letter to cinema, to youth, to love, to the pain of wanting something you can't keep. It's about growing up and realizing that love doesn't always save you, but it's still worth feeling anyway. It's always better to love and lose than to never love at all. And in my opinion, it's better than the Demon Slayer movie. You'll think about the Chainsaw Man movie tomorrow, and the next day, and probably a week later when something random reminds you of it. A song on social media, a look, a sound, and suddenly you're back in that theatre again, heart racing, chest tight, remembering how it felt the first time Denji looked at Reze. This movie broke me in the best possible way. It made me laugh, it made me cry, it made me remember what it's like to be young and confused and full of feelings you can't name. It's violent, absurd, and yet so gentle it hurts. Fujimoto made something that shouldn't exist, a film that's both a blood-soaked nightmare and a love story about being human. And somehow, it works. He made it work. He's a movie buff, he channeled his love for movies and storytelling into an absolute masterpiece. It's utterly perfect. As I said at the beginning, I'm still thinking about it. My chest still hurts. I'm still in love with it. Denji and Reze are still in love with each other. Denji's story, his first love, his heartbreak, his confusion, keeps looping in my head. It's a reminder that even in a world full of monsters, love still matters. It still hurts and it still tries to save you. And the fact that this was a movie made by a movie buff is the cherry on top. The pinnacle of artistry and love and passion. That's what makes it unforgettable, that's what makes it perfect. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. If you want to help me build the strongest anime channel on YouTube, I'd really appreciate you subscribing. Let's keep talking about anime that break us and remind us why we love them. And as always, I hope you have a great day.